Squirrels land like superheroes. Come on, this is super cool. Look at him. Not only they're funny, they're also super cool.
See? Good sides of lockdown. Googling things you would never Google otherwise. How do squirrels land? So you know how this lockdown is actually unlocking things and making you find out things about yourself you never knew? Yesterday, as everybody noticed, I found out I cannot pronounce eyeliner. I even took a couple of more takes in order to say it correctly, and I still couldn't, and I got stressed, and I said, you know what, this is a fun moment of my lockdown day, I'm not gonna make a word ruining it, so I just kept on saying eyeliner. Not eyeliner. Now it comes out correctly. English is one of the weirdest languages ever. Even for native speakers, sometimes it's hard to find the correct word. Imagine how it is for us that we don't speak it as a first language, how hard it can get. That's what she said. First the vocabulary, then the spelling, then the pronunciation. I'm a weird case. I can't even pronounce my name correctly. It's supposed to be pronounced Sabrina, while I say Sabrina with a triple B, because I'm from Rome and that's what we do. We add B's, and G's, and D's, and T's. Let's say we doubled the consonants that are not supposed to be doubled because we like it harder. Wow, this is taking a sexual twist I did not think about. You always have to take in consideration the setting in which us non-English native speakers have learned English, which is not to be underestimated at all. My high school teacher, for instance, she couldn't really pronounce English or speak it for that matter. She would walk into the room and be like, "Good morning, children." She was from Napoli. She was really fun, but she really couldn't speak any English, which for me turned out to be actually pretty convenient a couple of times. She once asked me to talk about Edgar Allan Poe, and I didn't study, so I started talking about my nights out in Greece. Because, you know, there is no much difference between Poe's narrative and the stories that we can tell about our nights out in Greece. So found it very similar, talked about that instead, got an A. On top of the poor level of English teaching in foreign countries, you have to add the fact that we actually watch movies and TV shows made both in England and in America, and sometimes we do mix the accents. Because that really depends on when your mind actually registered a certain word and learned it for good. Was it an American show? Was it a British show? Or even worse, was it an American character who's trying to speak with a British accent? I say laboratory, because of Ross in Friends trying to pull the British accent.
Right. So when Rigby got his samples back from the laboratory, he made a startling discovery.
I actually don't know how to say it like a normal person. Laboratory? I say laboratory, and I'm sticking to this. That said, I really wish English was a bit easier to speak correctly. You know, as Italians, for instance, we write things as we say them, and that makes it much easier to learn the language. Take your E's, for example. At the end of the past tense, do you pronounce them or do you don't pronounce them? Why are they there if you don't pronounce them? Looked. I looked. I don't hear an E. Why is it written down? Actually, talking about endings in languages, French is so much worse than English, with all the E's and the S's. You don't pronounce them, but if you don't spell them correctly, not only you change their gender illegitimately, but you also get an F on your test in school, so that sucks. Then let's open the most controversial chapter of all languages. This letter. Because think about it, it's the main cause of pronunciation and spelling problems. Not even to mention that it's the sneakiest little thing. It claims to be silent and mute, but it never really is. Sometimes you pronounce it, sometimes you don't pronounce it, sometimes you half pronounce it. Oh my god, I hate it. I hate it. See? Stupid H. Stupid H or stupid H? You native English speakers, you don't even know how to call this letter. You cannot even come up with an agreement about it. You hate it as well. You just don't admit it to yourselves. In Italian, we only use it when we need it, when it actually has a purpose, which is to move the sound of a letter from the mouth to the throat. So chi plus I is che, with the H becomes che. By the way, you guys, it's bruschetta, not bruschetta. There is an H there, read it. You have way too many options to use it. Either it's silent, or it's a consonant, or the word is stressed, so you don't use it, or if it's not stressed, you do use it. Oh, come on, it's so confusing, especially for Italians, not to mention Greeks. As Italians, when speaking English, for example, we just skip it because it's easier. So I say 1,000, I don't say 1,000. I just say the cat, the dog. It's just too much effort to put the tongue in between the teeth to say it correctly. It's a D. The Greeks on the other hand get even more confused because they use it when they shouldn't use it and they don't say it when they should say it. Let's go home, hand, hope, oh my god. And this actually stick to me because it started as a joke and now I cannot really say happy anymore. I always say happy, but that's because I find it cute. Happy? I don't know, I think it's more accurate in transmitting the feeling of happiness. And then they don't use it when they actually need it. A friend of mine's name is Shane and they call him Thane. So all this to prove that everybody has a problem with the letter H, so maybe you should start thinking that it's not our problem, maybe it's your problem, dear English language. Also, as the international chosen language, you should show some unity to the outside when it comes to pronunciation. And I'm not even talking about the old words like encyclopedia, encyclopedia, who cares? I'm talking about neologisms here. Can you please come up with a neologism having already decided how to pronounce it? Graphic interchange format. What is it? Is it a GIF or is it a GIF? Is it a gift without the T or is it like, I don't know, giraffe? Why do you spell it M-E-M-E if it's actually pronounced M-E-E-M? Why do you hate us that much? I already have to deal with all the false friends, like terrific. To me, terrificante means terror. It's not something cool. Or I have to be careful already not to insert an Italian word that I would insert out of my enthusiasm, like, come on. In Italian we say dai. You don't want to say dai. People would get confused. I would be like, yes, let's go, I'm so excited, die, die, die. Why do you want me to die? Not to mention that sometimes I have to adjust to your logic on things, like hair, for instance. For you is singular, for me is plural. And I think I'm right on this one, because there are many hairs, they have different colors, they grow in different direction. How can you generalize it? And that goes with love as well. How can you say I love you in the same way to your parents, to your partner, to your friends? It's so restrictive. There are so many shades of love. Your vocabulary is so big. Come on, come up with something there. Anyways, beside all the difficulties, thank God we have language to express our feelings to one another. Imagine if we didn't have that. How complicated would that be? I mean, we would still have our eyes and our bodies to talk, but you know, sometimes we have the need to say things out loud, so thank God we have language at our disposal. We should just keep in mind that words are a great gift, but if they're not used consciously, they can become very dangerous and they can hurt someone. So we need to be careful of how we say things, which is also why we should be very careful before hitting the send button on our phones before sending a text message. Because if your autocorrect turns dinner into dick and clothes into cleat, doesn't mean that your phone is a pervert. It means that you have been sexting, and you know it very well.